crypto market may be in turmoil, but South Korea is forging ahead with its crypto plans. Welcome to the Daily Forkast, May 12th, 2022. I'm Megha Chaddah of Forkast, covering all things blockchain. South Korea's new president Yoon Suk-yeol made a number of pro-crypto promises during his election campaign. And despite only officially taking office on Tuesday, according to a leaked report, he's already acting on them. We'll take a look at that plus a whole lot more coming up. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world.
Join thousands of NFT traders who already start their day on CryptoSlam.
Let's kick off with an update on Terra. The algorithmic stablecoin USD briefly climbed above 80 US cents Thursday morning in Asia after Terra proposed a network upgrade to increase supply of its native token Luna. The USD is minted by locking Luna, meaning Terra intends to concede Luna's value in the hope of saving the stablecoin's peg to the greenback. In a series of tweets, Terraform Labs founder Do Kwon said the increased Luna supply will be sold on the open market to raise funds and rescue the USD peg. Kwon admitted that the cost of the plan would be high to USD and Luna holders, but added that Terra is also seeking external capital sources. Luna had dropped to $3 by the time the recovery measure was announced and had fallen below the $1 mark by Thursday morning in Asia. The fiasco has led to concerns over the feasibility of algorithmic stablecoins, with the broader market in turmoil. Indeed, major cryptocurrencies were down Thursday morning in Asia, while the Nasdaq Composite finished down over 3% on Wednesday. Forecast Carolyn Wright takes a look at the market action.
Wall Street fell on Wednesday after the latest US inflation data showed that the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, rose 8.3% in April as compared with a year ago. Despite a slight easing on March's 40-year high reading of 8.5%, investors were still spooked. One expert told Forecast that stubbornly high inflation and the threat of higher interest rates have led to a complete risk-off environment.
Now, more aggressive rate hikes into year-end is something which equity markets and crypto markets have just completely unraveled about today, and more so in the cryptocurrency space because of what is happening with Terra. So obviously the breaking down there from its from one, there was obviously some large outflows that went through the stabilization mechanism, the algorithm there which kept it pinned to that level. It's broken down, and now we can see with Terra sitting around 26-27 cents. I think it's irreversibly broken. I can't see it coming back from that. Having gone from $77 6 days ago to 26 cents, that is a broken market.
Sycamore says there's only one bright spot for investors right now.
That is the US dollar, because the US dollar and US investments, the interest rates on cash investments there are pushing higher. We're looking at interest rates now out towards the 10-year at around 3%. Gold doesn't yield us anything, so there's no flows going into gold. And this is where I think the money is going at the moment. It's going into US dollars to get exposure to real interest rates, because there isn't many countries with real interest rates, and it's affecting everything. Gold, equities, cryptocurrencies, you name it. The money is going into one spot, the US dollar. The US dollar is king today.
As for Bitcoin, it dropped below 28,000 US dollars Thursday morning in Asia, but has it hit a bottom?
I'm still thinking that this is about the right level that Bitcoin should stabilise, but I need to see signs of basing. And by signs of basing, I mean I need to see Bitcoin get back above 30,000. If we were to see that, I would then say that today has just been capitulation. Capitulation is one of those things you see in markets which often precedes a recovery. So today is capitulation day. We've broken through 30,000. We've broken through the 28,800 low from last year. We're now into fresh cycle lows, and that really just signifies people saying, stop the pain, get me out. It is capitulation. But to signify that the capitulation is complete, it has to get back above 30,000 in the coming session.
Sycamore also says that for the moment, the correlation between crypto and equity markets is set to continue. But once the Fed takes its foot off the pedal later in the year, individual cryptocurrencies will then begin to trade on their own merits. For Forecast, I'm Carolyn Wright.
Over in Australia, after a last-minute delay, the country's first 3 cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, have now gone live, bringing Bitcoin and Ethereum products to the stock market. One of the funds, the Cosmos Purpose Bitcoin Access ETF, tracks the Purpose Bitcoin ETF on the Toronto Stock Exchange. The other two funds, which were launched by Australia's ETF Securities and Swiss 21 Shares, spot trade Bitcoin and Ether by tracking the underlying asset directly. The ETFs had been scheduled for launch on April 27th, but brokerage concerns caused a delay. In response to that postponement, Cosmos said it won't charge investors fee on their funds for 2 months. You can find those stories and more at Forkast.News. Meanwhile, in South Korea, the future of cryptocurrency is looking bright. According to a leaked report, the country's new administration under President Yoon Suk-yeol is working towards the institutionalization of the digital asset by 2024. Forkast Danny Park reports.
There's no stopping South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol in making good on his campaign promises for the crypto sector in the country. Based on a leaked report, the new administration plans to establish a new regulatory framework for crypto institutionalization to go into effect by 2024 after establishing legislation next year. The new administration intends to develop a bill for Digital Asset Basic Act this year. The Yoon administration has confirmed the validity of the leak, but added the draft is not final. The draft includes measures to protect investors and stabilize transactions by regulating issuance, listing, and market activities of digital assets including NFTs. It also reportedly includes reviewing the development of the nation's central bank digital currency. So what developments can South Koreans expect from here on? One expert told Forkast not to expect much for now, as more discussion is needed for the bill.
기본법에다 무엇을 담아야 될지에 대해서도 지금 컨센서스가 없어요. 그리고 지금 한국의 국회의원들도 일단 6월 2일까지는 아무 일도 할 수가 없어요. 그 지방선거가 있어가지고 그래서 이제 그 이후에 진행이 될 거기 때문에 업권법에 어떤 내용을 담을 것이냐 이것은 앞으로 좀 더 논의가 필요한 그런.
Kim also noted that the leaked report mentions the government will follow the global movement on regulations.
그 국제 정세에 발을 맞추겠다고 하는 것도 잘 보면 그 레퍼런스가 BIS나 FSB 같은 곳이에요. 이런 곳은 금융 안정성을 가장 우선으로 하는 그런 기관이거든요. 그러다 보니까 산업의 진흥보다는 금융 안정성을 해치지 않는 국제 공조를 염두에 두겠다.
Now, whether the bill will be enacted into law or not lies on the hands of the legislators. But with Yoon's backing, crypto investors can put their hopes high. For Forkast, I'm Danny Park.
It looks like a fire sale in the world of cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin breaking the $30,000 mark and ETH hovering around the 2,000 level. But El Salvador, the world's first country to make Bitcoin legal tender, has used the dip to add crypto to its coffers. But is making Bitcoin legal tender actually furthering its adoption in the new economy? Let's find out from Mark Lamb, Chief Executive Officer at CoinFlex, a leading crypto derivatives exchange and yield platform. It's great to see you again, Mark.
Great to be here.
Mark, the countries that have adopted Bitcoin as legal tender have got a lot of criticism, including from the IMF, which has said it could further financial instability. Central African Republic, one of the poorest nations in the world, has become the most recent one to bank on Bitcoin. But does a move like this translate into crypto adoption? A report recently showed only 20% of El Salvadorians continue to use their crypto wallet after spending the initial free bonus that was offered by the government.
An issue with using something like Bitcoin, BTC, as a payment in these Latin American and African countries is the fees. You know, the fees on chain are often several dollars, often $5, $10 to spend Bitcoin. If you're making a small amount of money, if you're making a few dollars a day, a $1 fee is like, a few hours, 5 hours of your time. It's a lot of money. It's a high fee. And so these fees end up pushing people to relatively centralized payment providers. And the issue with that is you can't tap into the peer-to-peer liquidity. It makes it more difficult to convert to cash. It just limits your options. You know, the point of a blockchain is to be able to be decentralized and be able to have people transacting peer-to-peer on it as cash. And so I think this is where, you know, cheaper blockchains like Bitcoin Cash and other things like that would be a more, you know, more suitable mechanism of payment for some of these poor, impoverished countries. I think there are a lot of reasons to move away from local currency. There was a recent study that came out that said that majority of the world is living in double-digit inflation right now. What you'll see is a move towards crypto, but I think it's going to be two things. I think it's going to be things like Bitcoin Cash and other currencies that have very cheap transactional mechanisms, and I think it'll also be stablecoins, because stablecoins track the value of the dollar. In the case of FlexUSD, you're also earning interest, and so things like that are probably more likely to get adoption than Bitcoin BTC, because, you know, the ability to transact first class on the network is very important.
We are also seeing a lot of innovative use cases emerge in Latin America. One report says that 1 in 5 Argentines have used crypto. What's the driving factor here?
A lot of these countries don't have a very strong local currency, don't have a very strong central bank. It comes down to inflation. You know, if you're an Argentine and you've seen over the last 100 years, I don't know how many times, but it's been many, many times, probably more than almost any country in the world, the entire currency has just been completely wiped out to inflation. You don't trust local currency. You probably don't even trust the dollar. But at the end of the day, they value, you know, things that are safe havens. But if you're not rich, gold is hard to get in a way where, you know, you can easily store it and you can easily do certain things with it. You know, Bitcoin, crypto, this is the way forward. This is where you can actually, you know, you can actually get a meaningful amount as a small individual and an everyday person, and you can protect yourself. And so I think it's only natural that anywhere that's dealing with double-digit inflation, which again is the majority of the world.
Interestingly, the governments in these countries seem to be pro-crypto, unlike the conservative wait-and-watch stance we've seen in the United States or the European Union or even India. In fact, Buenos Aires is happy to accept crypto for making tax payments. What explains that dichotomy in the different approaches at state level?
If you think about a country like El Salvador, St. Kitts, Central African Republic, many of these Argentina, the citizens in Argentina, many of these countries don't actually have a lot of ties to the U.S. banking system, or don't have very privileged access in the U.S. banking system and the U.S. dollar financial system. And really, they're ultimately, their citizens are looking for an escape. And so a government, you know, can only not listen to its citizens for so long. It at the end of the day is at the behest of its citizens. And so if all the citizens are saying, look, we want crypto, we want to escape from inflation, we want all these things, you know, at some point the government has to listen. And I think also, in some cases, the governments are getting some publicity and maybe people moving there and other things from the crypto space. So crypto is becoming a large economy, and, you know, it's not the biggest by far, but it's a multi-trillion-dollar market cap. There's a huge amount of economic activity in the space. That as that grows, it becomes more of an incentive for more governments to be friendly to it.
It may not be big right now, but digital currencies are certainly a giant in the making. Thank you as always, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
And finally, here's a sneak preview of the latest edition of Word on the Block, where we go beyond the headlines. This week, Sam Bankman-Fried, billionaire founder and CEO of FTX, and Amy Wu, who heads the $2 billion FTX venture fund, join in to talk about the need for a crypto regulator and trust levels in stablecoins.
If there was a clear, if we knew who it was, who is overseeing these marketplaces, like what agency is it? And so that's sort of another piece of this that they think about. They think about, well, how about the assets? How about stablecoins? Can we trust them? Like, and I'm like, I think like these set of stablecoins are, really upstanding companies, and we use them heavily and sort of have trust in them. Like, great. Is there like a, are they registered? The answer is, well, no, there's nothing for them to register as right now, and as money transmitters or something. But like, again, that's not really what they're asking. And so I think there's a lot of pieces here where like they don't know exactly what it is they're looking for. It's a holistic thing.
It's not necessarily that the technology is the best, but you're sort of capturing the zeitgeist and culture, and that's absolutely what's happened with the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT collection, for example. Yeah. Like this is the most popular collection in the world right now, and I got to know the team some months ago, and the community was thinking about like launching the ApeCoin DAO, right? And so I was asked to join the board of that, and was totally thrilled to, because it was at the time, and it is now, one of the most visible experimentations in decentralized autonomous organization governance of one of the most valuable IPs right now in the Web3 space.
The full episode airs tomorrow, so do check it out. And that's the Daily Forkast. And if you want a deeper dive on these stories, the Daily Forkast is also a newsletter now. You can have it delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up at Forkast.News/newsletter. Thanks for watching. I'm Forkast Megha Chaddah. Until next time.